Boom. What's up, team?
Burkoff didn't make it. Yo, dude.
Cheers.
Burkoff didn't win? Who won? Regan.
No, she won, but we were just saying with the new criteria, she didn't make it.
All right.
Got a clue.
Did she? I don't understand how that happened. It sure looked like Reagan was going to touch first. Maybe it's just because her suit's more visible. It was the white and purple you could see better than the all black. Why did it take so long for suit companies to start making colorful suits?
That's a good question too. Yeah, maybe it's too expensive. I don't know.
I mean, I'm a fan of keeping it clean and black, but still.
I like the colors. Yeah, I'm a fan of the colors.
I like the colors. I feel like you don't see as much of that as you should.
Maybe it's see-through or something.
Cut your eyes. So I don't know why they're getting away. Yeah, transparency issues.
Yeah, maybe it's that.
But they got even the lighter suits. They got the modesty panels, they call them. So
yeah,
should be fine.
Who dares put this YouTube link in the chat for this? Should we put it in the chat, John?
Yeah, sure.
I got it for you, Luke. So you quit pestering us over here on it all. So I got you.
Yeah, but the deal is, Luke, you gotta do pull-ups live. If maybe he puts it in the chat and then we get some people on. That's the way we do it.
I have the George Bovell special. He got me into these big time, and my daughter and I would do it. It's awesome.
Nice.
I haven't done those in a long time.
I shake every time I get on them. I shake.
I tried to do some pull-ups in the gym with John the other day.
I'm drinking rum. Just drinking some rum.
What kind of rum, Brett? There you
go. I'll get it for you. Hang on.
Let me see it.
I'm always reminded of
the Caribbean rum expert here.
What you got? What you got there?
I'm on this one.
What do you got?
Some bamboo. Oh. Bamboo.
Yep. It's good.
Yeah.
I love that you have it neat. Well done.
Yeah. Straight up, baby.
All of my 2 comments on rum is every time somebody says they're drinking rum, I think about that movie. Is it Big Daddy where he says Rumpelstiltskin? What is that?
Yeah, it's Big Daddy.
Rumpelstiltskin's a good man. So are you guys. And the other one is, I remember my sister got blackout drunk in Auburn one year because Luke, they used to bring in the Black Label Trinidad rum.
Oh, that is stuff for Coke only. I mean, not Coca-Cola.
Yeah, that was good though. That was some strong stuff.
With how good Gretchen's doing, I'm surprised she's third in the 50 back. I mean, it's still pretty solid and 2 great swimmers in front of her, but I don't know. I wouldn't have guessed she does better in the 50 fly than 50 back.
I agree. I'm right there with you. I don't know. But it was also her second race tonight, so maybe she just lacked some of the pop in the final.
That's true. 100 fly.
Can you pull up the new criteria? Can you look at the new criteria or not? Is that possible?
Yeah, pull it up. Do you have it? You still got it on your screen? Pull it up.
I want to see exactly what it says.
Who did it earlier? I don't think any of us did it earlier.
Oh, but what you showed earlier was a screenshot, wasn't it?
Did it just disqualify? Like, if you won, is that what it said? You don't automatically qualify.
I think it just lists where it goes in the criteria.
Oh.
Like in the. I'm assuming that's what it does. I don't know. I haven't seen the document, but. I think. Oh man, it was only by 100th. That's why I thought Reagan won. Burkoff has longer arms. That's what's going on.
Yeah.
Actually, the 2 tallest women came 3rd and 4th.
This has actually been faster meet than I had predicted, honestly.
What were some of the things that you thought were not going to be as fast?
Well, I hadn't seen anything of quality in the lead up to this, right? Like usually you see some fast swimming going on, and there was like bits and pieces here and there, like the usual suspects kind of cranking some stuff out. But in terms of like, I mean, some obviously there's just been massive drops here. I mean, look at the 100 free guy who got second. His best time was 49 before a couple of days
Chris
ago.
Giuliano,
yeah, Giuliano. So it's like there's just a lot of surprises, and I just wasn't expecting that many surprises. You usually get one or two here and there, but it seems like every event's got a bunch of new kids coming through and just cranking. And so I just didn't see that coming, the level of depth in terms of the new kids on the block,
I agree with that. Also, I don't think that it's going to bode well for this year's U.S. World Champs team, though.
I agree.
I think that because a lot of times I feel like when that happens, you've got some of the younger kids who, younger swimmers who. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you're doing. Yeah. Are you asking?
No, I just tagged it on a story, so I tagged
okay.
Brett.
All right, I got it. Yeah,
so
cool.
we can advertise us. Yeah, sorry.
But I feel like it might not show through this year, but it might be good for them. Going forward for this crew to have some big meet international experience.
Sure. So it'll be better for Paris for sure. But it might hurt them. Might hurt them at this. Well, the only thing that's probably in favor is like not a lot of the big name swimmers are coming either. So it's one of those weaker worlds. So it might be okay for them.
What's going on with that? I mean, I'm all in favor of and 100% support people prioritizing mental health and all that jazz, but it does seem like it's happening more and more frequently now. And I think the examples that come to mind are Caleb, and then now Milak, and then I know Simone said it was overtraining syndrome, but I feel like some of that seemed like it was on the mental side too. It seems like it's becoming more. And I'm sure there's some other examples too of people that are not involved in the meet.
I have no idea, man. I have no idea. I don't know what's going on in the world these days, man. I'm so confused.
The way to be good at swimming is not to compete. Just don't go.
Yeah.
Just get good one.
You think there's more depression?
If you're not there, Milak has so much on it. Jeez. But yeah, go look.
I was just asked, do you think there's more depression and mental health issues in swimming now versus 20 years ago? Or it's just we're now starting to learn about it and know about it and people are starting to open up when it comes to the issue?
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
No, look, you never knew what people were saying about you 20 years ago. Like you just didn't have that access. Like I posted something today about Olivia Smoliga, and within minutes she had responded to me like, "Oh, thank you so much for the kind words." I'm like, "You're at a meet. What are you doing listening to my Instagram?" Turn it off. I'm the last person you want to listen to. No, I said nice things, but it's like they're listening to everything. You know what I mean? They're getting all the good and all the bad, and it's just like coming in at them. And it's like when I was at a meet, Brian, you were the same. When you're at a meet, it's like you're just locked in here. I'm at the meet. Yeah. I'm not. Now it's like they're on their phones the whole meet, and they're here and they're watching and they're. Yeah. And so it is wild the amount of information they're taking in,
I feel like there's kind of two schools on this though. You can either be the type of person who benefits from like shutting it all out and just be in the moment and do the athletic thing that you trained and committed your whole life to do, or there's the other school of thought I think is, hey, only one aspect of my life and my identity is swimming, so like it may take some of the pressure off if they just continue to do as they would do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then look at how many people have opinions these days. Like we're up here, like just sitting here having a drink and talking about swimming. Like people didn't have that type of access before. We just sat around a bar and talked about swimming. No one was watching us talk about swimming. Now you can just jump on anytime you want and people can sit there and watch you. Like Nazar here. What's up? I don't know. What's up with Shane?
Sidebar. Exactly. I like that. I like.
What do you think? What's going on with Shane?
I don't know what's up with Shane. I think Shane. Who knows?
If Shane's not the most talented athlete in the pool, he's top 3. You know what I mean? Like he's just dripping with talent. It's just sick how much talent that kid has. And for him to swim the way he swims is like just mind-boggling. I don't get it. It must be frustrating for the people in his circle.
John and I talked about this in the gym yesterday. Does Shane, for the most part, even though he had a lot of success at NCAAs, wasn't he pretty much swimming the same times at SECs as he went at NCAAs? And like the pressure was on.
Yeah,
we're trying to get to the fact of like, how has he performed in big meets thus far? And I feel like a lot of his best swims, it's like, I mean, I don't know the specifics on this, but I feel like it's like duel in the pool or stuff like that.
He's only ever had one good meet. He's had that World Short Course 2 years ago when he won the world title on the 100 back.
I mean, but he still went 50 point like in season in the 100 fly last year, and he's still.
Yeah.
He comes into meets as a like with one of the top world ranked times, and then it just doesn't go much faster.
I think he went 50 point this season.
Did he really?
I think so. 24-1 there.
24-1. What a big Reese kick. Reese finish.
Yeah.
There it is. Taking advantage of the new rule.
Yeah, big time. I mean,
Oh,
he
really?
went deep on that. Don't you find he went really, really
Legal, baby.
He went really at a sharp angle as opposed to.
Reston's like, they created a rule for me. I'm gonna go after it.
No, good for him. So we just had Isaac Cooper on, Brett,
And he might as well
there's no way.
start lunging earlier.
I know. Isaac said he couldn't have made this final. He didn't think he made the U.S. team, and he's glad there's no way Isaac Cooper would have made the U.S. team. Didn't he say that?
He said he would make he didn't say he wouldn't make the final. Just to clarify, he said he wouldn't have made the team. But
I thought he said he made the final. Okay.
No. He would have made.
I guess that means he's not winning a medal at Worlds then.
That's what he said. Also, sidebar at Mission, when I saw Justin Ress, I was like, "You look the fittest." He looked as shredded. Like I don't know. I've only seen him in person a few times, but he looked the fittest that I'd ever seen him. He looked cut. He looked like he had lost some weight and like gotten really lean. Just curious what he's doing.
He's on that LA diet down in SoCal.
Oh yeah, has a lot of avocado toast. Is what you think?
Is that where he's training?
Yeah, he's in Mission Viejo with Trenton Julian and Trenton's dad in his assigned parking space.
Oh yeah, he is a little leaner, isn't he?
Yeah, he looks good.
Yeah.
Look at him go.
24-1 didn't qualify.
24-1 didn't get in. What do we got?
This kid's being coached by Bill Pilzik.
Oh, nice.
Told me not to use my phone during the meet aside from checking time. You don't even need to do that. What do you need the time for?
Get a watch. Get a watch. Get an alarm. Those hotel rooms still have alarms, don't they?
Yeah. You start checking time, then you're like, maybe I'll just have a quick squiz here, and you get stuck.
Yeah, right. Can you still get a wake-up call?
Good question.
Is that still a thing? Or wake-up calls the same thing as like pay telephones?
I haven't done one of those in a while. You're right. Good point.
But that's usually like you used to do that all the time. Show up to a hotel room and hey, let me go get a wake up call.
Yeah, you're relying
that's where the term. If anybody's ever heard the term, well, this is a wake up call. It's referring when people say that it's referring to checking into a hotel and calling the front desk and asking them to call your room at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
I always wish I had so many things when I swam. Brett and I used to swim in the same era. When we swam, I wish we knew things then that we knew now. But one of what things we did then that I wish they did now, like phones, social media. Maybe it's a blessing we didn't have that access during the meets, but then I wish I had it. Was there things back then that it would been cool to have had now that we did back then? I don't know what it was. I don't know. Is there anything that we did that they don't do now?
Anything that we did that they don't do?
Yeah, that they don't do now. Like, has everything advanced, or has something been lost and then we should bring it back?
Starts.
2-foot starts, paper suits. I'm not gonna go there. Okay, guys, I get it. But like, is there something like? I mean, did we just race to have fun? Was there less pressure because it was not professional? There was no money based in it. I don't. I mean, not me. I didn't race for money, but you know what I mean.
Hell no, man. I had 2 kids. There was pressure on for me, man. I needed to feed my family. No, I don't think so. I think
No?
it seems to me like we used to be more connected to our teammates. Like they don't seem as connected to each other anymore. Maybe in a different way. Maybe they connect socially on the media, but they're not. You know, we used to walk in packs. They don't really walk in packs anymore. You know.
I like that.
I don't know.
I bet some of that comes back to the phone thing.
Yeah, just everyone's on their phone. Like everyone's
Yeah.
kind of here connected this way, but they're not really connected that way, you know?
Yeah, really. That's all right. That's good for John's business because he's going to get a lot of clients coming in with neck pain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got twin girls in there that could use a little neck pain.
Keep it going. That's what we're looking for. Really just.
John, we need to
But
get
it's
you
funny when we
Brett's
talk to
camera.
like Craig Beardsley and some of the. Oh yeah. Having issues.
Is John on a delay here?
John's on a delay. John, come on now.
I think so. Let me go out and come back in.
Catch up to us, John.
I know now.
Man, the tables have really turned, haven't they?
Wait, so if Hunter's 6'8", Justin is 6'6", because Justin's slouching now.
Yeah, Justin's a big boy too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, two big dudes. What do you think? Which event in swimming do you think is where? In which event do you think it's most advantageous to be really tall?
Well, definitely this one, 50 back. You know, you want to be big in that one. Long course. Is there anything else, or is that it? Or it's a B finals now, C finals.
No, I think that's it. But let's give a shout out to third place. Way to go!
And the C
Way to
final.
go! Glad you made it on the podium.
Thanks for coming.
I was the C final guy. Okay, guys, come on. This is me swimming now.
You're saying we're not going to roll through the real meat here? This is where the
Exactly.
real
This is
troopers
the
get
core
through.
swimming right here. Right here.
Okay, I have another question for anybody who's watching. Why is the D final, when we're watching the prelims live stream, why is the D final treated like it's like a sideshow? Like they announced the results for the D final like it's the fun run event.
Really?
They've got all the top three. They've got the A final, B final, C final, and then later on they're like, okay, and the D final over here in the D final. Why are they doing that? Is there different criteria for like how to make the D final?
I haven't even watched the D final.
You know what it might be? It might be that the D final is 18 and under only. And so if anybody,
I don't know. I don't think it is, but it could be. But
it could be that. It could be that.
I know they're doing World Junior selection at this meet, but I don't know.
Brett, as a Auburn head coach, did you watch the D finals to look for recruits as part of scouting?
No, I left that to the assistants.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you got assistants for.
Is it more important to look at their times or look at how they swam?
I think it's important to get some feedback. Yeah, for sure. Like, you know, how do they look? What kind of potential do they have? But
yeah,
certainly times help. But yeah, it's important to get a little bit of context of like this kid's got really underdeveloped, or it's this kid worked real hard and not much left. But
this kid has one straight arm and one bent arm. We got to fix that.
Yeah, got work to do. What's your predictions then for the 50 free?
I better contact his dad right away.
If they're free,
who wins the 50 free? It's tomorrow, right? Is it? Oh no, it's day 4 tomorrow, right?
It's the last day.
Yeah, no, we got 5 days. So I don't even know what's tomorrow.
I don't know what's tomorrow.
Who are we sending?
I still think Michael Andrews.
I'm abreast tomorrow. 50. I know that.
Michael Andrews will win for the 50.
I think so. But
who else goes with him?
Who else? Curtis?
Well, again, I think it's one of those surprises of somebody that just pops. I don't know who's popping right now.
And there's a U.S. medal at Worlds?
Matt King, maybe he could pop something, but pop something like a 21-6.
You know what? I can see Held getting the second spot. I mean, his start Held is really quick to 15 meters.
Yeah,
I mean, he's not Dressel, but he is fast to 15 meters.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, he's always been.
Yeah, so I feel like, I'm gonna pick Held. I'm gonna go Michael Andrew and Held. I
Yeah.
think those are the two.
I mean, he showed he had some speed in that prelim first 50 to 100. He went 22.5 to his feet. He had some speed there.
Yeah, for sure. And then I think I'll go Weitzel and Gretchen in the women. Gretchen's on fire. And Fuego, as they say.
Yeah, she is.
Do you think the U.S. medals at Worlds
In what?
in the 53? Sorry.
Oh, no,
Men?
no.
Not. I mean, I'm talking like, can they final?
Yeah, I mean, I'd imagine
They
it's
should.
just top
Finals?
2, you know. They can
Yeah.
final. There's a bunch of guys that go 21.8, so it's going to be pretty tight. But
So you got Flo, Proud, Cam. You know, they've got so many people going 21.4 and under, almost crazy.
Let's get Thomas Heilman some more events so that we can add more people to the roster.
yeah, he's cleaning house, isn't he?
He is cleaning house.
Is he committed to a school?
I don't think so. I don't know.
What's
would you say
Cavalier
about
Aquatics like?
Go ahead, Luke.
Do you know what Cavalier Aquatics are like? What's his background? How tall is he? Who's his coach? What's his pedigree? What's going on there with him?
Is that in Virginia?
Yeah, his coach is the old Auburn coach, Gary Taylor.
How do you feel about that? No, his rum's good, huh?
Drink to that.
Oh, how about that?
Gary's doing a great job with him.
Great.
War Eagle. Oh my goodness, that's funny. That was funny. Yeah, I don't know. I want to look at the event schedule for tomorrow. See what else we got going on. But yeah. Brett, do you think if we were to eliminate, if you were to eliminate the distance events, because they would totally skew this completely, and say maybe if you just looked at 200 and down, total cumulative time between U.S. trials and Australian trials, which one's faster, and do you think the difference would actually be that big?
In what?
Yeah, if you were to add up all the events, cumulative time, top 2 finishers in each like qualifying race for Worlds, let's say,
Right.
assuming that Australia took, they didn't have that separate like FINA time standard thing that they added on, but like if you were to just add up the times for all of the 200s and down for the top 2 finishers in every race between U.S. team and Aussie team, which one do you think is faster?
Probably the U.S. team, because they have more depth. It seems like the Aussies have, one or two. Maybe on the women's side they're a little deeper. Their women's team's pretty damn good. On the men's side, it seems like they've got one swimmer in each. Like the 200 breast, for instance, right? They got world record holder and then daylight. So it's like, and they didn't have anyone qualify. I think in the 200 fly.
Oh, interesting.
It was either the 200 fly or the 200 back. It was one of those events where they didn't have anyone qualify, and so they just lack some depth. I think their women are obviously strong. 200 and down,
really
they're
strong.
stacked. Yeah, they're stacked, but their men are a little thinner.
Brett, why is that? I mean, the population in Australia is 10% of the US, but the sport is 10 times bigger. The Sydney Morning Herald wrote an article about Isaac Cooper's new training regime 2 weeks ago. That would never happen in the US, right? So swimming is, that and Aussie rules is huge. But why is no depth? It's just that the population, the talent. What do you think it is?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a good question. It's probably just the numbers. It's just a numbers game. Like the US has 300,000 registered swimmers. I think Australia has 20,000. So it's like the numbers are so skewed. So I think for the population wise, they're doing pretty damn good to have that many athletes in the top 10 in the world. But it's probably just a numbers game. But yeah, it goes in ebbs and flows as well, depending on if you get a superstar athlete come along. it seems like the women have more of that right now than the men. Yeah. But yeah, I mean the men still have a couple of guys that can hold their own. You got Zach Stubley Cook. You got Kyle Chalmers. These guys are the cream of the crop. So
yeah. I also the U.S. soccer. There are more kids playing soccer in the U.S. than any country in the world, but the U.S. soccer is, we know U.S. soccer. It's not comparable. So the numbers don't work for soccer. But I always think it's because soccer was so organized. Nobody plays soccer in the U.S. for fun. You don't see guys kicking ball in the back and it's having a ball like in Brazil or Germany or Italy.
It's not life or death, yeah.
Right, life or death, exactly. Well, that's the next thing, Brazil. I mean, purely life or death. But I always attributed the NCAA system in the U.S. for being that like welcoming the best of the best encourage the best. If I trained with Brian, I got better. That camaraderie. And I wondered if like Isaac Cooper had a Hunter Armstrong to train with and race with, would he be up there and not have competition? Is the NCAA system helpful?
Yeah, it was for me. Yeah, I've always been a big proponent. Of like getting around guys. When I got to Auburn, I had 7 guys that beat me up every day. So it's like I never had anything like that before. So yeah, I've always been a big fan of it. There is a heavy emphasis on short course yard swimming in the States. I think that can be a detriment at times. Like I think the Aussies have the right approach that they kind of occasionally swim short course for fun, but they don't really care. It's not really part of their calendar or part of their training. Like it's all long course oriented, So that's, and again, probably why they're really strong on the at the Olympic side of things, because they have a much heavier emphasis on long course swimming. But yeah, I've always been a big proponent of having guys around you that make you better. I mean, Brian was part of one of the most elite sprint groups in history, and no doubt that it made him better, and he made other people around him better by the attitude that he came with every day. So yeah, you kind of just feed off each other and then end up, everybody starts lifting each other,
But why don't more come? Why don't more Europeans come? I mean, they got great schools in Australia, they got great schools in Europe, but why don't more kids come to swim NCAAs here? You got a handful of Aussies who came here, a handful of Europeans.
There's a lot of negative press. They won't recognize the people that have done well. They'll only tell you about the people that fail. Because they want to keep you in the country. So they're like, oh, this kid went to he went to Nebraska and he sucked. He went there and then she went there and never heard of him again. And she put on 30 pounds. Like they'll tell you all the negative stuff. And as a kid, you're like, because they want to keep you there. They don't want their talent leaving. And then they'll lure you in with like small amounts of cash. Like 20 grand. Like, hey, we'll give you this stipend of 20 grand, and like for a 17, 18-year-old, like someone's going to give me 20 grand to stay here. Like, yeah, hell yeah, I'll stay and do this. And so in the hopes that it works out, and then some do and some don't, but so that's kind of it's the easy kind of like just give them a little bit to stay. And then, but yeah, I was always like, nah, you guys, I don't care how much money, because they were like, we'll cut you off. I'm like, I don't care, cut me off,
Wow. Yeah.
You'll never make another Australian team again. I'm like, watch me. Yeah. You can't stop me. I come back and I hit the qualifying times and I get the criteria. You can't stop me, So that was always my mentality. But there was a lot of negativity around it. Yeah.
Not many Caribbean athletes have excelled without going to the US. I mean, you could. There's so many.
Well, yeah. I mean, different set of different
resources at home. Yeah.
Like we have good facilities, we have good coaches, like we have everything the US has, other than the support system of the colleges, but we may even have some things that the US system don't have. I was talking about this with Lani Palast. I did a podcast with her and I said, okay, tell me about the support you get, because I actually got a text message from Brett Hawke, Summer McIntosh's coach, and he was asking me about it. He said, what kind of support do they get there? And so I asked her, and she was telling me everything they get. And it's a pretty interesting clip, because it's very detailed, very in depth of like the support that is put around them to make them successful. It's completely different than what they get in the US. you know.
But that was set up by the AIS back in before Gennady and Alex went there. I mean, that's big time. And England did a very similar thing when they converted the lottery system to pour lottery money into their swimming. And look where England is.
Right.
I mean, that's revolutionary, and you need more of that.
Yeah, I mean, Americans pour money into war, you know, into their military. Australians pour money into sport.
Because that's the only time that they come together as a country. America, I'm say it. When last does Americans all get together behind one thing? They follow the Eagles and the 49ers and the Warriors. But
that's what I'm saying. Afghanistan, Iraq. Yeah, let's get behind Iraq. Let's invade Iraq. Let's all get behind it, you know? Yeah, that's what
I don't think we're behind Iraq. Well, yeah. I lost my train of thought.
It does seem like Canada is getting more behind their athletes coming to the States, though.
Yeah, Canadian athletes never came to the States. They always believed they built the national training centers up in the 90s, and they were, it's all about national training centers in Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal, and stuff. And we had very few who came to America. If you were a Canadian swimming went to America, you're like, whoa, wow, that kid swims in NCAAs. But now we're getting a little bit more of that, right? With Maggie, Taylor, what have you.
Yeah, what I was going to say earlier is I think USA Swimming just cares more, as I mentioned, I think before we went live. Like they care more about all the age groupers. That's what it's all about. It's not as much about a focus on the elite level of sport, and I don't think even though there is an emphasis on it, and they've got a team and a national team emphasis, they want to win gold medals. It is not the emphasis, and I think there's a really big distinction between those two things. Is like, are you a high performance organization who's focused on like winning medals and developing athletes who can deliver for the country in the same way that some other countries may treat it, or are we really, our primary focus is on just being a business and caring about the annual budget and getting more kids in the water first, but not as much about the elite end of the sport. That's where I think the US is.
It was a criticism of the NCAA system. So my father-in-law was in a track scholarship at a top running school in Nebraska. And he was NCAA champion, about to go to the Olympics, and he got injured. The coach said, let's take a cortisol shot. You need to win NCs. He won NCs, and he didn't make the Olympics. And he was on course to win gold because the NCAA system, the guy was more concerned about getting this athlete to help him win NCAA as opposed to a gold medal for Trinidad. And I asked David Marsh about this. I said, David, I mean, if an athlete needed to peak for Canadian trials, which is 2 weeks after NCAAs, how do you balance peaking for Canadian trials or NCAAs winning gold for your club? Taylor Ruck has had that example. What do you think, Brett, about that?
Yeah, I mean, we had Matt Targett do it. When we won the national championship in 2009, Matt Targett just flew back from Australia. He got back that week. He went down. He went down for trials and flew back, and then swam. I always had to deal with that stuff. Brian knows that. Like we had so many international athletes. It was always like, well, my emphasis is here. I gotta put emphasis here. And you try and work them through it because they think they need more. They need to go that way instead of like, look, you can still balance it out. It's doable, but yeah, there definitely should be some consideration for sure.
I think the last time the U.S. athletes had to deal with it was this would have been the year before you got to Auburn in '96. Did you get there in the fall of '96 or
I got 97.
Yeah. So, but that was the last time I think that U.S. swim trials were in the spring, and that year you had a bunch of the elite college athletes who had a chance to make the Olympic team. They just either sat out the year or took a red shirt, like Jeremy Lin, and I don't know. Do you know if Hargis actually took a red shirt that year?
I don't know. Actually, I don't know if they redshirted or not. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that. I wonder what do you think is the better strategy for the timing of a trials meet relative to the Worlds or the Olympics or whatever the big meet is? You think it's better to have the qualifying meet 3-4 months before World Championships or the Olympics? Or
No, I've always liked the way the US do it, like 5 weeks out.
Why?
Because it gives you a chance. Because I'm a big believer that you should be going fast, and then like all the time. I'm not a big believer in like end of season drop and then that's it. I'm a believer in go fast more often, and so I think that if you do give yourself a chance to taper, I think you give yourself another chance to go even faster again. Because I think ultimately, we're overtrained. And so you tend to remember you. And I just said, hey, I don't want to see you till next Thursday. Don't come back. You have some rest, because we were just crushing you and crushing you and crushing you.
It happened to me multiple times. Yeah, I think it may be you, actually. I'm not sure.
Okay.
No,
right.
You're back now, B. You're good. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess the thing was, basically, I remember saying to Brian once, just like, hey, I don't want to see you for another 5 days. I could just take 5 days out of the water and come back. So I think at times we push so hard and we push too hard, and so I think that secondary rest is only going to work in favor of us. So I often think that the US system was the best. You go through a heavy emotional roller coaster of a trial and you make it through, and then you go in and just fine tune and go faster again.
Yeah.
Is my internet sucking?
Oh no. I think you're all right. I think it was just that quick moment. But
Brett, you're starting to swim again and to set some goals in Masters. What are you applying now that you learned from your 40-year career in swimming? What are you applying now to your training?
I haven't even started it, so I'm going to start my official training. Yeah, I'm going to launch a new website. So basically, the way this all came around is I actually just put a post up on Instagram. I got laid off May 30th. And since May 30th, I've had to kind of reassess my life because I don't have a job. It's my
birthday, man. You trying to celebrate my birthday by?
I got laid off on your birthday?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so I got laid off, and it was a bit of a shock. It came as a surprise, and then so I had to reevaluate pretty quickly. And so I was like, you know what? I'm sick of working for people. I felt controlled by someone else always telling me like, here's what you can do, here's what you can't do, here's how much I'm going to pay you, here's when I want you to turn up to work, here's how often I want you to work. It was just like I was slaving myself for everybody else my whole life. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to take control of me. I've built up enough of knowledge and information and a reputation. There we go. Yeah. So, it's like I'm backing me. And I said, stuff it. So I said, I'm gonna jump into being an athlete again, being a Masters athlete, not anywhere near wanting to go to Worlds and do what Roland Schoeman's doing, nothing like that. But it's like, hey, and Brian's been an inspiration. I met him at the Boston Marathon where he looked incredible and he'd just been pushing himself. And it's like, why not? Why not live like that? It was definitely a source of inspiration. So I think I've looked at all that and said, all right, I'm going to take a life shift. And I think we can all do that in a way, And so I'm hoping this serves as some inspiration to other people as well. I'm just sick of working hard for someone else. I'm going to work hard for myself, So that's what it comes down to.
Thanks, dude.
So I will start training next month. Yeah, I'll start. I'm going to move out to California in 2 weeks. And that's when I'll start my training.
Because next month is tomorrow, by the way. No, Saturday, by the way.
Yeah. So hopefully my new website, BrettHawke.com, will launch in the next few days. I'm still working out the kinks. It's hard to build a website, by the way, especially when you don't really know what you're doing. But I'm putting that together, and I'll launch that in the next few days, and then I'll move out to Cali, and I'll start the workouts, and I'll just do once a day. It's like I'll train like a Masters athlete, and I'll get in what I need, and I'll take it relatively. So I know discipline. I know what discipline is, and I think I can incorporate some of that back into my life. I'm not going to get fanatical about it, I don't want it to be like a source of like, oh man, it's really uncomfortable to be around Brett because he's so obsessed with this, this thing that he's doing. I don't want to be that guy, but at the same time, nothing wrong with kind of, having a little discipline and a little, like, hey, I got to go to practice tomorrow. I can't skip a day, sort of thing. So
fulfilling to have a plan, commit to something, and then follow through on it.
That's right.
I was going to ask us all to channel our inner George Bovell right now. Define master swimming. What is master swimming to you now? Master.
Oh shit! What did George say? I don't know what George said, but
what would George say about mastering your swimming and masters swimming and your master of your domain and all that stuff? Get in there. Come on,
master of your domain. That just makes me think simple.
The layers continue.
Yeah, George. Well, George would go really deep on this. I don't know if I can get that deep, but I think for me, what it is for me is just like commit, like Brian just said, like committing to something and sticking to a plan, but having it be part of your life. Like like I think for a while there, being a non-athlete was part of my life. Like I committed to not being an athlete. I committed to laziness. I committed to like self-indulgence of like eat whatever I want and lay around and be lazy. Like, that's a commitment. It's like, why not commit the other way and just say, I'm going to be healthy, I'm going to be happy. I'm going to, it's like, that's it. So you just kind of change your focus of saying, well, working out every day is a good thing. It's okay. Nothing wrong with a workout a day,
Yeah.
So that's what I think.
Especially if you're working for yourself too, you got the time to prioritize it. Master swimming to me is doing whatever the fuck you want to do.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah,
exactly.
And you know what? Like I've seen, and you guys are putting out good content now, but I've and because you know what you're talking about, and it's respected. It comes from a place of like, you actually know what you're doing, but like I see so much stuff out there on the internet. I'm like, oh my God, is this the stuff that people are watching? Like this guy, this person is getting people to watch their shit. It's like, come on. I mean, if that person can do it, I'll crush that person. So it's like, there's a lot of fakers out there, who are just, putting shit out there and people are eating it up. And I'm like, no, this is not cool. So I think that's where my belief in what I know and what I can produce is out there. It's just a matter of mastering the technology, like, when I first started a podcast, I started on a voice recorder on my phone. Like my first podcast was a voice recorder. That's my girlfriend, by the way. She popped up. I was like, oh, look at her.
Welcome.
Hey, Carrie, what's going on?
Carrie's going to be part of my system too. She's a master swimmer.
Nice.
Elite swimmer.
She swam for the US at the 2009 World Championships. 200 breaststroke. But no, I think I don't even know what I was saying, but she distracted me there. What was I saying, Brian?
Well, I think one of the things you were touching on is like having some like control of your situation. Like I think you've proved it once before as a professional athlete, right before you started coaching me, was that you had the confidence and belief in yourself to and you had confidence in the subject matter expertise that you had developed to just be able to go and carve your path as somebody who was dedicated to 50 freestyle when like everybody else was telling you that you need to swim and train for the 100 as well. And you're like, no, you're one of the first people ever to just like commit to being really elite at the 50. Yeah. And that meant that you kind of had to branch off and do your own thing. And I remember you telling me about buying your own camera equipment and like just doing all of these things that formed you took a very professional approach to it and said, what are all the things that I need to do to get better? And didn't think about it through the lens of what would a typical training group or whatever do. And I think like that mentality that you had to find success as an athlete is what'll serve you really well here, because you were talking about your camera and like, hey, like when I first started, my first podcast was on my phone, and now look at you here, and we show up and you're like, hey, you've got this fancy camera. Look at you. And it's like you learn skills as you go, but you also know how to be successful working for yourself and not having somebody else say, "Hey, Brett, here's the playbook," and then you just read the playbook. You're like, no. Like one of the reasons why you were such a successful coach and why you developed that elite sprint group at the time was, and one of the best, training groups ever probably, was that like you had so much creativity and you had a really wide library, like a broad library of ideas and that combined with like incredible creativity.
Yeah.
And when you have that sort of like a wealth of knowledge and creativity, when those two things come together and you just are independent and you have a lot of belief in yourself so that you don't give a shit what anybody else says, really, you just go, there's a lot of confidence that comes from those things.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And thanks for picking up on that, because that kind of defines me. Like in that sense, like I've always wanted to be that person of saying, you know what, like you do have enough knowledge and it's okay to explore, and it's okay, like not like I put up a drill the other day and I realized like that drill came from me trying 10 other drills that really didn't work until I got to that one. And then it was like, oh, that one works. I'm like, you're so smart. Well, I made 9 mistakes before I got to that 10th one. So it's like, I think you kind of just experiment enough. And that's where I'm at with this is like, I've got a GoPro waiting for me in California. And originally it was like, well, how am I going to get people to, film, to be able to make enough content to put them up? And I was like, I can swim. I can be fit if I want to be fit. I know how to do the drills. Like, why don't I just do the drills? And it's my content, and then I don't have to rely on anybody else. So part of me becoming a master swimmer is like, dude, get in shape, figure out how to use the camera and start doing this stuff yourself. Like, just take control again. And then no one can say, hey, man, I really don't want you to use that content. Guess what? It's me. It's my content. I'll put it up. And so now it's just taking control of what you can control and stop being owned by somebody else. And so, there's a fear in a 48-year-old taking your shirt off and saying, hey, I'm going to show you how to do a drill. Like, there's fear in that. But it's like the only way that I could do that legitimately is get your ass in shape. So that's what I'm going to do. Get in shape.
Yeah, nobody wants to order a size 36 Speedo,
No one wants to see that.
Dude, you gotta own your body, man. Own where you're at. Brett,
Luke, are you listening? Are you listening to this?
I'm listening to you. Brett, you also do it with the right agenda. So you have the passion that we all have here. But you have the passion with the right agenda. And your agenda is you're not out there for world dominance or to like make millions. You just love what you're doing, you love the sport. And that's where we're on right now. Look at that. The 4 of us are together. Technically, we're competing entities. Technically, we don't give a shit. We just love the sport and what we're about. And you are being authentic to who you are, and you always have been. That's your modus operandi, and that's how you're going to be successful. So, dude.
Again, like, look, I was competing with everybody at Auburn who were my teammates, and yet I came in every day and said, hey, dude, you're not doing that right. Hey, dude, you got to be better here. Because what you're doing now is you're making me better. So what I'm doing here on this show is like I'm talking to Brian. Brian's talking to me, and Brian's out there running the marathon. I'm thinking to myself, oh, shit, like, that's inspiring. And then he's saying, oh, Brett's doing this on that. And so, like, we're just feeding off each other. So everybody's working together to say, hey, we're all in this. Yeah, we're competing, but let's all make each other better at the end of the day. I see some of the stuff you guys are putting out recently. And I'm like, Brett, you better step up your game. These guys are doing it right, So it's like, it just makes you better. But I'm not one, like, the only time you're going to see me as a competitor is if you start to shit on me. Like, if you start to shit on me, then you're going to see the claws come out. I'm going to start to be like, oh, all right, dude, you want some of this? And believe me, I've brought a couple of people into my realm who have turned on me recently. I'm not going to mention any names, but it's like, dude, you don't want this. You don't want to compete with me because I'm a son of a bitch when it comes to competition. Let's be teammates.
Two guys broke 21 seconds and they were teammates and they push each other like crazy. Exactly. They saw each other in the pool every day. Like, oh yeah, that's good. And that's how we broke barriers and grew the sport. Those two guys.
listen, I distinctly remember having the conversation with them because they were at odds. I don't know if I've told you this, but they were at odds. They were fighting each other all the time.
Yeah.
And I just said to them, I said, guys, if you two come together, do you realize how powerful you can be? If you two work together, nobody in the world can touch you. And then all you got to do is figure out who's going to finish first and who's going to finish second. But like, you're going to create so much separation with everybody else that no one will come close to you two, because the talent that you have, you're there. You may as well work. Like, if you work against each other, then all you do is allow everyone else to come up and compete, because you're just working against each other. But work together and you become strong.
I'm embarrassed to say this. Did they swim in a relay together and shave and tape on a relay together, those two?
I don't think so. No. I don't
What?
think so. No.
Did they ever swim in any relay at all? Anything?
No, Fred's way older than him.
I know.
Yeah.
There's no time to ever combine forces to target and no. Dang.
I mean, maybe at like a Charlotte Ultra Swim or something like that.
Yeah, maybe something like that, but they weren't really.
Other than that, no. Yeah. No, too big of an age gap.
No.
Yeah, but anyway, so that's my philosophy. I'm gonna lean into myself a little bit. I'm sick of making other people rich. You know.
Yeah, amen to that.
Yeah.
Right on, dude.
It's a little scary.
Well, I'm watching the C finals here. Matt
Are we on
Fowler
C or D?
just came second in the 50 breaststroke.
I don't know if we're on C or D at this point. I don't know how the order goes.
We're now on D.
Who's the D?
But I mean, you have the 200 breaststroke winner just coming second in the 50 breaststroke C final and swimming it. Like, what does the 200 breaststroke World Championship qualifier get with swimming a 50 breaststroke C final?
Just more racing, I guess. Just more racing.
More racing. Working tech. Yeah,
he's not known for his speed, so I guess he's just working on his top end speed. He gets another race,
right?
So,
yeah. Do you have sponsor obligations to compete? And if you drop out, you have sponsor penalties. Is there penalties for dropping out of meets and races and stuff, or exposure and all that?
Me personally?
No. Does one have a suit sponsor penalties for dropping out of races and scratching?
Not really. Level, no.
They don't do that. They don't care about you swam, exposure, what have you.
No, they're all upside. I mean, most of those contracts are, pay for performance. There's probably a base salary, pay for performance, and then the only mandatory things you have to do is like show up to like 4 or 5 or whatever X number of events for them. That's usually the way those things work.
Are there any suit sponsors for master swimmers?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Probably
influencers.
Yeah. I think maybe at the top end, right?
Are you going to be the first?
I don't think I'll be at the first, but I might be one of them. Yeah, why not? I'll take a suit sponsor.
There you go.
I've been dying to get into the. I've been dying to get in any of these suits because I've actually never worn one of these, and I'm interested because a lot of people say they are pretty damn good. But I really want to get into the Mizuno. I want to try this thing out.
Is it? I mean, Sonny loves these things. He talks Mizuno nonstop. Is it really that good? I mean, I don't know.
I loved the Mizuno suit.
Yeah,
and I remember like it was at the time. Right at the end of my career, it was tough to get the Mizuno suits, and I remember I think I had to work through Fred to get through his Mizuno Asia contact, who was able to get us a suit that was the non-Asian fit or something like that. I just remember man, I love this suit, but I've worn the one that I have too many times. It's starting to get a little stretched out. Let me get another one. Like everything I could do just to get that suit. It was that good.
Brian, the non-Asian fit. What's a non-Asian fit? Explain.
Maybe they didn't. I can't remember. Maybe
they have a European cut. Like Arena has a European cut and then an American cut. Like just different cuts.
Different body shapes, especially with caps too. They have the same thing with caps because Asian heads are just a different shape than. I mean, everybody's head is a different shape, but in general, there's a different fit. The same thing is true in cycling. So there's
goggles too, for sure. Yeah.
And bike helmets. There's a Asian fit bike helmet, and then there's a regular fit bike helmet. So they just distribute differently. They're totally different molds. So anyway, that's what I was about.
I remember when we first signed with Arena, that all they had was a European cut, and the women just couldn't wear them because the suits are just like, just different. It's like I don't need to explain. They're cut different, and the Americans were just a lot more modest, and the girls were just like, we can't wear these. And
they hated them.
Yeah. Arena had to go in and create a whole new cut for the American market.
Huh. Yeah, it was weird, but that's awesome. Wait, so you targeting a certain size of suit that you're trying to get into, or you got to get fit first before you get a race suit?
That's a good question. Look, when I was racing, I was a 32 waist. That was just a constant. I was a 32 waist. Now I'm a 36 waist. So maybe if I get to 34, I'll be happy.
All right, there you go. Right in the middle is good. Yeah, you don't need to set your sights too.
I don't need to be 180 pounds again. I don't want to be that. But
your metabolism's 200. At your age, your metabolism is not as on your side as it was when you were 25. So
my diet's not on my side either.
Yeah, well, are you gonna keep drinking the rum?
I'm sitting here drinking a bottle of rum right now.
They banned from swimming in 2009. Was that when it happened? 2009, 2010. But master swimmers were allowed to swim an extra year with it, and that's when I was like, already, and I started my comeback. Because I was like, I can wear a full body tech suit at age 35. Let's do this, man. Why ban it for master swimming? Wouldn't you?
I'll tell you what, I did try that once. I was at, I'd only just been a few years retired when I was coaching Caesar and those guys at their best, to some of these big meets. And so I was still in pretty good shape. If you see some of the old video of me, I'm still pretty thin and, that kind of thing. And so I remember being at one of these camps and with a Brazilian team and I tried on one of these bodysuits and I just jumped up, no warm up, just put a bodysuit on. I think I just jumped in the pool, splashed around a bit, jumped up, and I went like 23 flat, in this bodysuit. But I was just like, as soon as I dove in, I was like, whoop! I popped up like a cork, and I was like, whoa, holy shit! Like this is crazy, So, yeah, those things were legit. That's for damn sure.
I remember, did I tell you guys the first time that I wore one of those? It was a Friday afternoon, I think in like January. So we were starting to do some fast stuff, but we're always doing fast stuff, right? But you're kind of getting into the prepping for racing season, and there were some Grand Prix meets or Pro Series style meets that were coming up. And I remember Fred came back with a few of these suits, and we put on the suit. I remember it was a Friday afternoon. We lifted in the morning, and then in the afternoon there was like a club meet going on. And so we entered the club meet because the 50 free was swimming that Friday of the club meet. And we only did that one race, and then we didn't swim the rest of the meet that weekend. But it was like, sure, why not? Let's race. There's a meet going on. They got the touch pads in. Let's do it. So it took me 50 minutes to put on the first jacket that I ever put on. I was like sweating by the time I was done with it. I'm amazed that I tried to put it on as early as I did. I put it on. I got up on the block, and mind you, my best short course yards time was 19.1, and then I was 18.6 on a relay. The fastest I ever went in a dual meet, so like fastest ever just in a brief, was 20.6. So I had a big difference between those two. I put on that jacket on a Friday afternoon, lifting in the morning, not that fresh, and I went 19.6. And I remember like when I dove in the first 25 at like the 10 or 15 meter mark, I was laughing in the water because it was so crazy.
You know straight away. You're like, oh, this is different.
I felt like I was getting pulled on a stretch cord.
Why did it get banned? I mean, it made you laugh. You love swimming. Swimming's fast and fun. Formula One track. I mean, what? Why? Do you believe in? Should we have banned it?
Well, I'm mixed on this because I don't love the wedge on the block because I think it took away some of the skill that you needed to be able to get off the block well. But I think it evened the playing field, and I think that it took the advantage away from really good starters. Yeah, like back to like Roland Schumann's era. And he was a really good starter on a flat block, and I think now you've got people that are able to get off the block faster because of the wedge specifically. And I just don't think that actually made an improvement. It just meant that everybody is now a tenth faster, and it took away an advantage. So but with the suits, I think it just became too big of a distraction. You know, it's a distraction when you break that many world records up front. Like you've gone too far too fast with technology, and I think it just scared everybody. Had that innovation come in at a little bit slower pace, maybe.
I think it was just too expensive too. Like you know, a suited last. And you could rip a suit straight away, but in the end, it's like $500. You know, like even more than that. So it was too pricey, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I like that. I like the idea of not having a level playing field finance-wise. Wasn't who could afford the best, swam the best, but clap skates in speed skating change the game in speed skating. You know, clap skates where your back heel can.
Yeah, but they don't break after 3 uses. You know,
well,
you got to throw these things away pretty quick. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, just saying, looking at brand new on Speedo website, now this is many years later now, of course, but a women's Speedo fast skate, like the top of the top on their website right now is $599. That's the same price or more than it was to get the top end suit, bodysuit at that time.
Yeah.
The men's suit is $399 for a jammer.
Wow, that's crazy. That's
so I don't think the pricing has changed. Is my point. I think it's the same.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is nuts. All right, boys. My phone's about to die.
Yeah, I have to go and pick up my kids. It's 10 p.m. here in New York. Let me go and get them.
Where are they?
They ran.
Are you parents?
Exactly.
What?
Exactly.
Is this the master's approach to parenting? You just choose
to
do what you want?
It's what happens in Havana Club.
How old are these kids? Like 7 and 8? How old are they?
And I got a 13-year-old and a 9-year-old, and they're by some friend's house around the corner, so it's fine.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
We forgive you.
I'll go get them. And I'm going to be in California next week. So, Brett, man, we need to hook up in California.
I'll be out there, man. I'm going to Irvine, moving to Irvine, so I'll be out in a pretty good region for swimming, and I have to be pretty central. You know, like in the lead up to Olympics, I want to get to Cal, I want to get to ASU, I want to do things around there and just start to make some content too. So
no, this sport needs what you and Nate are doing, man. It's great, and we need to get the sport going. We've been talking about this since ISL. We talked about this before ISL. Jesus Christ, man. So
yeah,
nice,
man.
Yeah. All right, boys. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Yeah. Cheers, guys. See you
later.